And the San Francisco 49ers take on the New York Giants tomorrow, Levi Stadium, 5:15 start. And let's get some info on the Giants and head out and talk to Keith McPherson. He's a nighttime host on our sister Odyssey station, WFAN 660. He also is a live host on Bleacher Report, their app. Hey, what's going on, Keith? What's happening?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Not too much happening. We're getting ready for Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
There you go.
How much more difficult did this game get now that Saquon Barkley's been ruled out?
It's been difficult, and I have to share my position. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan in New York City, so everyone hates me. But I grew up a Cowboys fan. I picked the Cowboys when I picked the Yankees. They were winning World Series and Super Bowls in the 90s. Nobody was there to tell me to not root for the teams that were on the screen, and I've been loyal to those teams ever since. So I have an interesting position because I went to the Week 1 game where the Cowboys put up 40 on the Giants, and then they had a do-or-die Week 2. Like, if you lose that game, your season is over, and they go down 21 points in the first half. This is a team that gave up 68 points in the first 2 weeks, and now they don't have their two best players, Saquon Barkley and Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas didn't play last week, but they were thinking that he would come back for this week. And we all know about the San Francisco 49ers defensive line. It's going to be a challenge regardless. It's going to be a hard week. The home opener for San Francisco, I've been telling everybody on WFAN every night because I'm not a homer, because I'm not a Giants fan. I'm like, listen, this is not going to be a walk in the park. You guys can talk yourselves into Daniel Jones played his best 2 quarters of football, and we found the Giants team with all these weapons and Darren Waller and Jalen Hyatt and Paris Campbell. But the 49ers are a juggernaut.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I want to ask you, since you're in New York, just this whole emergence of Brock Purdy, their loss in the NFC Championship game, the one he got injured, he comes back, and now, I'm a Cowboy fan too. I need your number. I'll get it before you get out of here. But I got to tell you, I think they're ready. But what do you think about Brock Purdy? Is he for real?
Yeah, every single time I say his name on WFAN now, I say I'm putting respect on this young man's name because in the offseason, leading up, I kept just saying, I don't know. He's got to prove it. He's got to show me again. The kid had the surgery on his elbow. He's got to prove it again. Last year he had the winning streak, but he was the third-string guy. It's kind of easy to be the guy that nobody's expecting anything from, no pressure. He's got to show me. And also, Kenny Pickett went to my high school, so I'm a big Kenny Pickett guy. And Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback taken, and obviously Purdy was the last quarterback taken 2 years ago in the draft. And they faced off Week 1, and I was all in on Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. And the 49ers came out there, and they silenced every critic or anyone thinking that the Steelers could actually play with them. And Brock Purdy is what we thought he was.
Hey, Keith. And by the way, we're being joined by Keith McPherson, nighttime host on our sister Odyssey station, WFAN 660. Who are the Giants? I mean, they made the playoffs last year. They won a playoff game. It seemed like coming into the season, there was optimism that they could build on it. Are they better than last year, or is it way too early to try to figure that out?
The thing about the Giants is that they're in year 2 of a rebuild. Year 2 of their new GM, year 2 of their new head coach. And last year, they were way ahead of schedule. Last year, they surprised a lot of teams. They went to London and beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They stole some games in the fourth quarter. They won close games. They were a team that didn't have the talent on the roster that I feel like a lot of teams played down to the competition with them, and then they found themselves in a tight game late where Saquon could, will himself into the end zone, or Graham Gano could kick a field goal. So they were able to win 10 games. And then they go into Minnesota, and everybody knows the Vikings are frauds, and they're able to beat the Vikings in the playoffs. That's over. That was last year. Last year doesn't roll over into this year. Yes, they did add Darren Waller at tight end. Yes, they did add Paris Campbell at receiver. They drafted Jalen Hyatt. They also have some new pieces on defense and some rookies that are starting for them. But I keep reminding folks that this is year 2 of a rebuild. They're still finding their identity. They paid Daniel Jones $40 million. So everything runs through him. He's got to throw it, he's got to run it, and will them to victory. But they're still a team finding their identity, finding who they are, and they don't know themselves yet. That's why they got caught the first 6 quarters they played this season looking inept. with false starts and penalties and Daniel Jones throwing interceptions and just not being able to run their offense or not being able to stop anyone on defense.
Let me ask you this, because we both know the Niners are loaded on both sides of the ball. What concerns you most? The Giants' offense going up against that Niner defense led by Bosa and the company, or your defense trying to stop all the weaponry in Brock Purdy, as we just mentioned?
The Giants didn't even want to tackle James Conner and Josh Dobbs. So how are you going to tackle Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle? Like, I've been talking to the fans of the Giants, and they've been trying to talk themselves into it's Thursday Night Football. It's a short week. Daniel Jones played like Superman last week. That's going to carry over. Brian Dable is going to call the plays. Any given Sunday, really any given Thursday, anything can happen. Maybe the Niners, they struggle with the Rams, but there's no Puka Nacua on the Giants. There's nobody out there for them that is going to make the plays like that. It's all on Daniel Jones. So I really think it's going to be more of a challenge for the Giants defense with two rookie corners and guys like Xavier McKinney, who got trucked by Josh Dobbs. Like, if you don't actively want to bring your helmet, shoulder pad, wrap your arms, and tackle, it's going to be a long day for you with the 49ers offense.
Keith McPherson joining us on 95.7 The Game. He's a nighttime host on our sister Odyssey station, WFAN 660. You made a good point that seasons don't carry into one another, that what happened last year is what happened last year. Last year, the 49ers were the second best team in the NFC. Philly beat them in the NFC Championship. The Niners beat the Cowboys in the game before that. So last year, you could rank them Philly, Niners, Cowboys. Has anything changed in your mind with the top three teams in the NFC? Who's the best and who's the second best and third best?
Oh, of course. I can't rank them off of 2 weeks. But the Eagles, I think, they're going to have some issues. They have different offensive coordinator, different defensive coordinator. You saw A.J. Brown in a win getting at his quarterback, Jalen Hurts. He wants the ball. And, they have a few guys they got to feed. Hurts has his carries. Devontae Smith needs his targets. And now, the rich get richer. They get DeAndre Swift after losing Miles Sanders. He goes crazy. They got to give him the ball. A.J. Brown wants the ball, too. So I think they might run into some issues this year on offense with the play calling and keeping everybody happy. They also have some issues on defense. They lost a few guys on their defense. One, Javon Hargrave, who's with the 49ers, they're able to replace with Jalen Carter. I can't believe the NFL let that kid fall to number 10 where they got him. But Nakobe Dean was starting at linebacker for them. He's banged up. I think they have some issues at linebacker and safety. Avonte Maddox is down for the Eagles. So I think the Eagles take a step back. I don't expect them to get to the Super Bowl this year. I think it's really between the Niners and the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys are stronger. They add Stephon Gilmore on the opposite corner from Trayvon Diggs. They add Brandon Cooks, who missed last week, but he's in line to play this week. And now Mike McCarthy is calling the plays. And so far, it seems like they're running the ball, and they have throws for Dak that are just rhythm, timing, 3-step, 5-step, whatever it is, to get the ball out on time versus letting Dak sit back there and think about it too much and throw interceptions. So I cannot wait to see the 49ers versus Cowboys in a couple weeks, because I think that right there is an early sign of who will have the advantage in the NFC.
You know what? I agree with you, but what bothers me about that scenario and that matchup, and you tell me if you agree, Dallas, for their mental psyche, obviously needs the game more so than the Niners. Now, obviously, both teams playing for home field advantage when you get to that juncture, but the fact that the Niners have sent Dallas packing, and Dak, to me, you tell me if you disagree, single-handedly gifted the Niners that game with what Dallas's defense did to try to, check the Niners' great offense. I'm so out on Dak. I think he's the weak link. Hey, Dak, if you're listening, you can show me, but I'm telling you, man, this is like if Dallas wins week 5, that ain't good enough, Dak. You got to do it again to where the Niners got more of a ninth life, if you could kind of follow me.
Of course. Dak didn't make the throws. Dak left too much meat on the bone. You got to be able to score points. Dak Prescott has averaged 29.9 points on offense since 2019. But if he had 29 points against the Niners, they win. He missed some open guys, throwing interceptions, forcing the ball, staring down receivers. Can't have it. So if they do win week 5, it'll be a nice little get back. It'll be a nice little redemption but ultimately they could meet again in the playoffs, and then that's going to be the one that matters. That's the hump that they have to get over. It's so far down the line, but I think we can see that both of these teams are powerful, so they could meet.
No doubt.
Hopefully it's in the NFC Championship.
No doubt. Since we got you on the line, I got to go baseball because the Giants are having what I deem a disappointing season. We had some passionate conversation here earlier about Giant fans and Farhan Zaidi. What about Brian Cashman and the Yankees? They've had a disappointing season. If I were to ask you, who do you think's more in danger, Cashman or Farhan, how would you answer that?
Oh, man, I don't know. I just think in baseball, so here in New York, Friday is Fire Cashman night at Yankee Stadium. The fans have got on Yankees Twitter to organize Fire Cashman T-shirts and signs and chants to, get back at the Yankees for this failed season and all the failed moves that Brian Cashman has made. But I just feel like in baseball, these GMs, one bad year, they'll get a mulligan. With Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner's already come out to say he's safe. And, same thing with the Giants. It's like they don't read too much into one failed year. If you look at the Red Sox getting rid of Hein Bloom, that's 4 seasons in a row that they're bottom feeders, not making the postseason or finishing last or not really being able to get back to the promised land. I just think in baseball, they chalk it up to so many things, analytics and injuries and bad trades. And they literally think it's a crapshoot that the Phillies make it to the World Series last year because they just got hot at the right time and fired their manager. I think these guys are safe for the most part, and they'll get another opportunity in 2024.
Keith, thank you so much for joining us. Really good stuff, and looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to load up the same game parlay with McCaffrey, with Debo. I need Kittle in fantasy to get in the end zone. Definitely going to have a Kittle anytime touchdown.
Well, does your league give points away for blocks?
No points for blocks.
Yeah. And maybe you should think about another tight end other than George. All right, thank you so much, Keith. Man. Appreciate the call.
Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
Yes, sir. That's Keith McPherson.